Call to order. Please stand for the salute to the flag. Freeholder Bobadilla, would you please lead us in the salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley.
Present.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Present.
Freeholder Clark.
Here.
Freeholder Gill.
Here.
Freeholder Johnson.
Here.
Freeholder Luciano.
Here.
Freeholder Owens.
Here.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Present.
Freeholder President Watson.
Present. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Madam President, there are two. Conference meeting, October the 23rd, 2013, and conference board meeting, November the 18th, 2013.
Okay, freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? No questions, no comments, freeholders. Do I have a motion and second to approve the two transcripts?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo and second by Freeholder Owens. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley.
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, let's move to the public comment session on agenda items. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment on agenda items, please come to the microphone, state your name, affiliation, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Any member of the public who would like to speak on agenda items? Madam Clerk, there's no one at this time who's wishing to speak at this time, so we'll move to any person who would like to speak on any issue. You may come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation, and you have 3 minutes to speak. You can make comments on any issue. Okay, Madam Clerk, no one is present to speak at this time. Let the record reflect that there's no one wishing to speak on any issue at this time. We'll go to topics of discussion, Madam Clerk. Are there any topics of discussion?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to the public hearing on ordinance number O-2013-00014. Please read it.
Public hearing on ordinance number O-2013-00014, an ordinance establishing rules and regulations for the safety and conduct of persons used in Essex County parks, playgrounds, recreational facilities, and other county buildings and property.
I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance number O-2013-00014 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this ordinance, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. Madam Clerk, there's no one present who wishes to speak on this ordinance. Mr. Polyvecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I don't have any questions. I think we went through this at some length last meeting.
Okay. Mr. Frank, do you have any questions?
No comments on this one.
No comments on this, Frank? Okay, freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Freeholder Clark?
Yeah, I have one question, Madam President. How do we propose to enforce this ordinance? I understand the need for it, and I understand as I read through it, some of the things that I see in it. It's a lot, and it's pretty detailed, and it makes sense because all the money that we put into county buildings, properties, improvements, you want to see them maintained, and you want to see them kept up. But we don't have a county police force anymore, so we only have the sheriff's department and local law enforcement. So how are we going to enforce this ordinance?
Through you, Madam President.
Yes.
Yes, this ordinance does encompass a lot. I guess it goes back to 1906 with many of the park regulations. For the most part, between the Sheriff's Department, our Parks Department during the weekdays, weekends, and nights, primarily with our municipal partners and our County Sheriff's Department, is how we intend to enforce it. However, it's very difficult to be in every park 24/7. So there are routes, there are stops that each location has on every shift is covered by a sheriff's officer, as well as augmented by the local municipalities. It's a very huge task, and we've been fortunate that for the most part, we've been successful in safety in our park systems. But there are times where we have to request for additional assistance for large events, additional security, where we know in advance, such as weekend events. So in the past, we've been able to address the issues. They haven't really gotten that difficult to deal with, but we all know that we're not at every park 24/7 and every reservation.
I was just thinking, if I could, Madam President, thinking
Freeholder
out
Clark,
loud.
continue.
Some of our municipalities, and I guess you would say municipal partners, some of them have employed what they call camera technology. And it came to my mind that if you can catch a person going past the amber at an intersection and give them an $80-some-odd ticket that's irrefutable in court, it's possible for us to have some kind of surveillance system in place. I don't know if it would be cost prohibitive, but just a thought. I'm just thinking out loud as a way to help you actually enforce this ordinance. And sometimes it's a deterrent if a sign is posted that this premises or these premises are under video surveillance. Sometimes people would be less likely, if they wanted to do something to a building or something of that nature, they might be less likely to do it in that instance. Just a thought.
Through you, Madam President,
Mr.
the
Sheller.
Freeholder is, I think, right on point. If you looked at the Sheriff's Department in the last few years, we've increased the number of portable lights and cameras that we do take to locations where we feel that there might be a need. And they are rotated based on need. And so those cameras are up. We're able to view them. Their sheriffs are able to view them right at their command center. They are mobile. You could probably see one as you exit this parking lot as a mobile camera device. We've got them in our parks. We've got them in different locations. So yes, we are trying to utilize technology.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
Additional,
Madam President.
thank you, Freeholder Clark. Additional questions, comments, freeholders? Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Do I have a
Second.
second? Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance? Okay, freeholders, no further questions, comments. We have a motion to approve. Roll call.
Freeholder Beasley.
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, are there any ordinances on first reading?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, then let's move to Resolution 1. Please read it.
Resolution 1, Office of County Council, Collective Bargaining Agreement between the County of Essex and the Essex County Corrections Officers, New Jersey State Policeman, Bellevue Association, Local 382, January 1st, 2011 through December 31st, 2013.
Okay, we're going to take, Madam Clerk, we will take Resolution 1 through 4. So you can, will you continue to read into the record?
Resolution
the four
number 2.
resolutions?
Office of County Council Collective Bargaining Agreement between the County of Essex and the IUOE Local 68-68A-68B Parks Craft Titles, January 1st, 2011 through December 31st, 2013. Resolution number 3, Office of the County Council Collective Bargaining Agreement between the County of Essex and the IUOE Local 68-68A-68B Public Works Craft Titles, January 1st, 2011 through December 31st, 2013. Resolution number 4, Office of the County Collective Bargaining Agreement between the County of Essex and the IUOE Local 68-68A-68B Engineers, January 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013.
Okay, thank you. Freeholders, question, comments? And we are on resolutions 1 through 4.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. McInerney?
just to confirm, my understanding from last week is that basically all we're doing here is we're not ratifying the we've already done that. We're just, I think typically what happened, we would just add an addendum to the existing contract every year with the new terms, in this case from 2011, 2013. My understanding, this is all put together now as one document.
That is correct, Madam President. This is primarily a housekeeping item, just assembling all the documents and making it into one. It has no effect on the terms of the collective bargaining agreements.
Very good.
Which is real. I've seen this, a lot in the municipalities where they'll ratify a contract from 10 or 15 years ago, and all they do is add what they bring in form to the governing body is just that part of a resolution that deals with the change of any terms, which is normally just to pay. So to find the actual contract, you got to go back 15 years to find. I don't think it's that long in this case, but it's nice to get the document all together, so when you want all the terms together, you have it all in one place. You're not looking for bits and pieces.
And thank you, Mr. McInerney. We discussed this in detail at our last meeting, but I thank you for bringing that up so it's on the record again before we vote. And no further questions or comments, freeholders. Madam Clerk, do I have a motion and second for that?
No, Madam President.
Okay, freeholders, do I have a mover and
I'll
second
move
to
it.
take resolutions 1 through 4 together?
I'll move 1 through 4.
Freeholder Sebo is moving it. Do I have a second to take resolution 1 through 4 together? Second by Freeholder Johnson. No further discussion or comments. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley?
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yes.
Freeholder Clark?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Owens?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo?
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson?
Yes.
So moved.
And again, for the record, for our viewing audience and those that's in the chambers, this is our board meeting. Last week, we had a conference meeting, and all the items we are voting on this evening, we discussed at our last meeting. Madam Clerk, let's take 5 through 7. We'll read it into the record at a later time. Freeholders, do I have a mover and second to take resolution 5 through 7?
So moved, Madam.
Freeholder Owens moved it. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. And the mover and second agreed that we would take 5 through 7. Question, comments, freeholders? Freeholder Clark?
Madam President, did you say 5 through 7?
Yes.
I have a question.
On which resolution, will identify the resolution you're
I have a
questioning?
question on 6 and a question on 7.
Okay, continue. Freeholder Clark?
Thank you, Madam President. On 6, is this first of all, how much was it last year?
Same amount as last
Same
year.
amount, okay. And am I correct in that this, this is kind of paid for through the savings that are exacted through this particular company?
Well, actually, their performance in creating the cost report at our hospital center, 85% of their cost is picked up by the state.
Okay. And for number 7, is any of this going towards admin, or is it all going to go, or is a lot of it going towards actual direct Client or service. Is any of it? And
Yeah, I'll have someone from the department answer that.
Please state your name and affiliation for the record, please.
Maurice Brown, the Director, Acting Director for the Division of Community Action. And I'm sorry, what was the question?
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is the insertion of revenue here, is it going towards admin, or is it actually going towards, like, say, a homeless client?
No, it's going toward the preventative to a homeless individual. This is not just for case management. This is for the actual program
Okay.
to help
So that
citizens,
means that
clients.
if a person came in and they were homeless and they needed X, this money would be able to actually be a direct benefit to the client.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
Additional questions, but before we move, I have a mover and seconder to take 5 through 7. I would like the mover and seconder, if we would like to add 8, because 7 is related to Resolution 8. Okay, so we'll take Resolution 5 through 8. Yes.
If I could, Madam President, I think the question Freeholder Clark asked about the $180,000 insertion. Resolution 8 shows the agencies that are receiving the exact amount of the insertion, $180,000, so it is going for direct services.
Fantastic.
That's
Thank
why I
you.
wanted to add 8 to the motion, so that it's all together.
And Madam President,
Yes, Madam Clerk?
you also want that read into the record at a later time?
At a later time. We'll read Resolution 8 at a later time. Thank you. No additional questions, comments, freeholders? I have a mover and seconder. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley?
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yes.
Freeholder Clark?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Owens?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Siebel?
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson?
Yes.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, we will move to Resolutions 9, 10, and 11. We will ask that you read it into the record at a later time. Freeholders, do I have any questions, comments on Resolution 9? A motion for Resolution 9 through 11. Do I have a motion to take 9, 10, and 11 together, freeholders? All from the Department of Citizen Services, 9 through 11.
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bobadilla, second by Freeholder Johnson. Question, comments, freeholders? No questions, no, Freeholder Clark?
Madam President, through you to Mr. Chilella. Mr. Chilella, on number 11, at some point in time, I'd like to have a conversation with you relative to that one, because that one, last year, there was an agency that, I guess, either missed a deadline or wasn't able to be funded. First of all, is that agency included this year?
Quite frankly, in your packet, you do have the list of the agencies. We will be coming back to the board next meeting. There are 5 additional agencies that will be added to this list.
Okay.
So there'll be a total of 15 agencies to provide these services.
Okay, so there are 10 now.
And there'll be 5 more
Then you're going to come back
next
to us
week.
with 5 more.
Yes.
Okay, and that's for the remainder,
That
That's
is
up until-
for the 5-year period
5-year period.
to provide these services.
Okay. I'm curious about the monitoring of the programs that we do. I would imagine that there's also some monitoring
State.
from the state and federal level, because these dollars are coming through those agencies to us, but it's coming, I believe, from federal sources and state sources. And there are some concerns that some of the people who work actually in those programs have expressed to me. So, Madam President, I will share those concerns
Okay.
with the board and certainly with Mr. Chilella when we have an opportunity to talk a little bit later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Freeholders, we're on Resolution 9, 10, and 11. Question, do I have a motion and second, Freeholders?
Yes, ma'am.
I have, okay. Who is moving it?
Bobadilla and second by Freeholder Johnson.
Johnson and Bobadilla, thank you, I didn't make my notes. Okay, we have a mover and seconder to take resolutions 9, 10, and 11 together. No further questions on 9, 10, 11. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley?
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yes.
Freeholder Clark?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Owens?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo? Yes. Freeholder President Watson?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we will take Resolution 12, 13, and 14 together. We'll read them into the record at a later time. Freeholders, do I have a motion and second to take Resolution 12, 13, and 14? Moved by
I'll move
Freeholder Luciana. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Question, comment. Mr. McInerney, this is, Resolution 12 is dealing with the 2013 county budget insertion. Do you have any comments on that resolution?
No, Madam
That particular-
President, strictly an insertion of a grant on both sides of the budget.
Okay, very good. Mr. Polyvecchio, any comments or questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay, question, Freeholder Clark, and we on 12, Freeholder
On
Clark?
12? Mhm.
Yes,
This is for 2013.
yes. It's a budget insertion.
Has any of this money already been spent, and this is just kind of, we're just inserting it, or this is new money to be spent? Since 2013 is about then.
This is actually money that we've been made aware of to continue the workforce. As you know, that the county has municipalities that had requested assistance since Sandy cleanup. They've hired individuals. We had some employees out of Public Works and Parks. They kept telling us that the funds would continue to keep them on, and this is money now just coming back to us to be inserted. So they have been kept on, no one's been let go, and those services have been provided ongoing.
Okay, so this is actually going to supplement money that's already been paid out.
Exactly.
Okay, additional questions, Freeholders, on Resolution 12, 13? Questions, comments? 14. Madam Clerk, I have a mover and second.
Yes, Madam President.
No further questions, Freeholders? No comments, roll call.
Freeholder Beasley?
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yes.
Freeholder Clark?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Owens?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo? Yes. Freeholder President Watson?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll take Resolution 15 through 18 together. We'll read into the record at a later time. Freeholders, Resolution 15 is from the Department of Recreation and Cultural Affairs, and 16, 17, and 18 from the Department of Public Works. Do I have a motion and second to take Resolution 15 through 18 and moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo? Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Owens. Okay, Freeholders, we'll question comments on Resolution 15. No question, no comment? On 15, Freeholder Clark.
Is this, Madam President, through you to Mr. Chilella, sir, is this to provide point-of-sale hardware at our venues such as the arena or the zoo or the golf courses?
Through you, Madam President, it is for the point-of-service sales system. However, it's for Turtleback Zoo and Cody Arena,
Just for those two?
not for the golf courses. That is a separate contract.
Is there a reason why we separate the contracts out and not use the same vendor for all of it? Is it just better that way?
It's pretty much two different kinds of services. tea time reservation system is a little bit more complicated than a credit card or admission at the gate. We are looking right now to have an RFP developed that would encompass more of our revenue sources, but that is a more sophisticated system.
Do all of our revenue sources have point-of-sale hardware accounting systems that we can monitor remotely?
Not remotely, and that's where we're heading, so that we could do it remotely.
Oh, so none of our point-of-sales can be monitored remotely?
Some of them can, but not all of them. For example, the tree line course, that technology, we don't have it basically built in there, but we will be adding as part of the new system to have those point-of-sale systems that you can, on a PDF, you can actually download and find out how sales are going.
Mm-hmm. And right now, so, what's our accounting system for this? In other words, how do we verify this?
I believe Frontline, the agency that we're approving tonight, is providing that service currently. So they are in place. We do have a point-of-service contract with them. This is just a renewal contract as we build our new point-of-sale system.
No, the reason I'm asking this is my brain goes, when I hear point-of-sale, because I was a council person at one time in a city that has a golf course, that was an issue. And it was always an issue about how you really can keep track of revenue streams, what's coming in, and who's watching who. And I'm just curious, who's watching Frontline?
It's interesting because we have weekly meetings just on these revenues.
Said it again?
We have weekly meetings just to deal with the revenues at each location, at each site, and they're tracked very, on a very high level.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. McInerney?
Sometimes what you were dealing with at the golf course that you were making mention of, that's strictly cash, and that's not the case at our golf courses. So what also happens with the implementation of this kind of software, point-of-sale software, is that there's trends, and you can look at those trends. For instance, there's different times of the year. There's different, let's say it's at the golf course, the temperature is over a certain amount, the weather's a certain way. All that is part and parcel of the input that goes in. So analytics become a very useful format, not of finding out if somebody took $10, but of seeing if there's a pattern of disproportionality among the norms. And that is used not only in this situation, but also extensively in audit situations to make determination if there's any inconsistencies in cash flows or revenue streams. And so I think that's what a lot of government as well as corporate has already looked at on the corporate side, but I see it more and more happening on the municipal side, where number one, cash is no longer accepted, and we're seeing that a lot in the recreation departments in the municipalities in Essex County, and we're seeing point of sales that kind of tie everything in, from tax collection to parks and recreation fees and things of that nature. But with that information comes the ability to do trend analysis, and that's really where you're able to see, whether or not things are going according to oil.
Freeholder Clark, that concludes your additional question, comments, freeholders, and we're on Resolution 15. Question, comments on 16?
Just want to make a point on
Yes,
16.
I'm sorry.
I
Mr. Polyvecchio?
Just to remind the board, I was looking at this and thinking we don't often cancel resolutions, but just to remind the board, the work that was being contemplated under the resolution with Figon Electric that's now being canceled has been superseded by the new federal aid reimbursement agreement that this board approved last month. So the reimbursement that was intended for the now soon-to-be canceled contract was never given out by the federal government, and that work will be part of the much larger project being done on South Orange Avenue in the various towns. So just to make that clear.
That's very, very good. it's good because we will be voting on it last week. We discussed it briefly, but thanks for bringing that up again so that the record would show how and why we're voting on the cancellation. Additional comments, freeholders, on 16? None? We'll go to 17. Question, comment? 18? No additional questions or comments. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley?
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yes.
Freeholder Clark?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Owens?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Seaver?
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson?
Yes.
So moved.
Let's go to Resolution 19. You can read it into the record, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 19, Department of Administration and Finance Officer purchasing approval of the omnibus resolution for the purchase of goods and services from January 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2014, aggregate amount not to exceed $7,060,000.
Okay, we discussed this at our last meeting. This is something we do every year. Mr. McInerney, would you like to just put something on the record prior to
Well,
us?
we discussed
voting?
this last week. This is an opportunity for us to take control and put some controls in place over those types of expenditures that typically don't come to the board. And what we do is we put limits on those amounts, and then we monitor the accumulation of those expenditures against those limits. And it gives us just another level of control.
Very good. Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion and second to take Resolution 19? We on Resolution 19, freeholders, do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Vice President Seabold, do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Discussion on the motion, freeholders. This is the omnibus resolution that we approve every year. And is further discussion? I have a mover and second.
Freeholder Clark.
Freeholder Clark.
Just to I guess, anecdotally put on the record, this is our, what I like to call trust but verify, basically. We're trusting the administration that the dollar amount that is listed here is required or needed to make certain purchases under certain thresholds. Anything above those thresholds would come back to this board. And we're trusting, but we're also verifying in that we are able to see how that money is spent, thereby exercising our fiduciary responsibility. Is anything that I said incorrect?
Through you, Madam President,
Yes,
we do supply the board with a list of those purchases through this omnibus. But for example, the board does not see every single auto part that is ordered. You do see it in a summary of the report, but you don't see 6 spark plugs. So in that respect, yes, you do see it, but you doesn't come back every board meeting to approve those purchase of those spark plugs,
Correct.
as an example.
But there's such a thing as a bill list.
Yes.
Which means that should we want to see anything in greater detail or specificity, all we have to do is consult the bill list, and the bill list would comport with this.
Precisely.
Okay, and I think the reason the board decided to, and I think Freeholder Clark, you probably recall when we made that decision several years ago, because your meetings, we would have so many agenda items just to vote for small items, and we decided that a lot of the other counties, they went with the omnibus resolution type purchase, and we thought that that would be good for Essex County, and we started a couple of years ago. I think you remember when we first initiated that. It makes a
The
difference.
biggest sword in its side, but I
Yes.
mean, I've come to.
Absolutely. It
to-
makes
to-
a
to
difference
deal
in the time that you spend in your meetings, where you can move the agenda without having to vote on every little purchase that we make. Okay, I have a mover and a seconder, Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
I do. No further questions, comments?
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Madam President.
Freeholder Clark.
One last question, and through you, Madam President, and with Freeholder Beasley's permission, through Freeholder Beasley, because I don't sit on that committee, but is some portion of this $7 million allocated to minority vendors?
Through you, Madam President, if you're asking if there's a set-aside for...
No, I'm not asking that. Not at all.
What we can do is see if purchasing can provide a report for you in terms of the vendors, and if they are in our database listed under a certain category, then we can provide that for you.
If you could do that.
But if they have not identified themselves in our database, it would be very difficult.
I understand that. Anything that you could do to answer that question would be greatly appreciated without driving yourself crazy. The reason I ask that question is because we sit here for quarterly meetings when Ms. Collins comes before us and tells us about the percentages and how wonderful things are going. But then we have before us a dollar amount. It'd be really nice to know how much of that dollar amount actually went to small businesses, minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and then we'd have a pretty good benchmark for ourselves. Thank you.
You are.
Okay, additional questions or comments, freeholders? Are you asking Freeholder Beasley to let you know in the next meeting so you could sit in on that meeting?
No, ma'am.
No.
I just didn't want to be so presumptuous as to speak for or overstep my bounds into another freeholders
Committee,
committee.
okay. Okay, I have a motion and a second on Resolution 19. No additional question, comments. Freeholders, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley.
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, we'll read Resolution 20 into the record, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 20, resolution establishing time and place for the reorganizational meeting of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders.
Okay, do I have a mover, freeholders? Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Clark. No additional question, comments on the motion on Resolution 20. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley.
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, Resolution 21 through 23 are commendations, and we'll take them together as one, and you may read into the record at a later time. And Freeholder Clark will move the resolution 21 through 23. Do I have a second? Freeholder Luciano,
Yes.
I was waiting for you to second.
Thank you, Madam President. Sorry.
Okay, very good. No comments on the commendations. We'll vote. Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley.
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, are there any added starter resolutions or ordinances?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, we'll go to report of the board committees. No reports, freeholders? No committee reports? Legislative reports? Written communication? Okay, let me, under written communications, the freeholder committee meetings, The Workforce Oversight Committee meeting will be held December 16 at 1:00 p.m. in room 506. Do we have any additional communication, freeholders? If none, we'll go to Freeholder
No,
Clark.
no, it actually is something that's gonna come up on Friday, I want to share with the board.
At this committee meeting?
It's about NJAC. It's about NJAC, so I have to wait
Oh,
till you
NJ.
get that.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that, yeah. Unfinished business, new business. We'll go to the public comment session. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to address the board at this time? Please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation, and you will have a total of 3 minutes to speak. If anyone is in the audience to speak at this time. Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there's no one present that wishes to speak at this time. We'll go into the freeholder comment session and Freeholder Clark.
Yes. This Friday at the NJAC end of the year meeting, the discussion is once again going to be about the Affordable
Healthcare.
Care Act. It's going to be that whole afternoon is going to be devoted to that, and having speakers come in and talk to the freeholders relative to that. We, I think, need to be mindful of the fact that New Jersey was a state, or is a state, that opted not to do an exchange. And so, unlike New York, where people are actually signing up, or California or some other states, people in New Jersey are left to kind of flounder on their own. They're left to have to figure out how to negotiate the federal website, which, as we know, had some glitches. Some of those glitches have purportedly been fixed, but there still are some issues that remain for citizens. One of the things that we knew, because we had the members of Health and Human Services come in and speak to us, but also they came in and did a session for us at NJAC earlier in the year. One of the things that we knew from those two meetings is that Essex County, in particular, had one of the highest number of people in need of health care and in need of being able to deal with navigating the website. I know that Freeholder Meeting Dec had some discussions with an agency, a Latino-based agency. I don't know whether it was predominantly from the Northport or where, but I know that agency was doing all that it could to assist people in figuring out how to navigate that website. I know that many of our pharmacies had, walk-in kind of sessions where people could come in and try to avail themselves. I just don't want us, because January is here and people are still registering. I just really want to make sure that we, as a freeholder board and as a county, try to encourage our citizens, especially those in need, to get out there and register. If they're having difficulty, say something so that we can try whatever we can try. If it's nothing more, Madam President, than to make a phone call to DC or wherever to try to get some help for people. People just need to know that we do care about what's happening to them relative to their health care. Now, I've not heard anyone come to me as a freeholder, and I don't know whether the other freeholders have heard it, but has anyone said anything to any of us about, like, say, being dropped or losing health care or any of that sort of thing? But I don't know that we as a county have had any kind of any kind of correspondence sent out or any kind of a meeting relative to the Affordable Care Act, but I sure would like it if we could. And I think the great partner with us in this would be our hospitals. Because you realize that there was a provision in the Affordable Health Care Act that allowed a hospital to, like, say, well, we can't help you here, but you can go there. That's the part that scared me a lot. Because I just heard about it happening to a senior citizen that I knew and that I cared a lot about. She was 99 years old. She was 6 months shy of her 100th birthday. She went to a hospital that I'm not going to name, and I'm not going to name the person. She went to the hospital presenting with a pain in her back. They sent her home because they said they couldn't find anything. Couldn't do anything. There was no reason for her to be there. 2 days later, she was gone. I'm just concerned to make sure that people are able to get the kind of health care that they need from Essex County hospitals. This happened in Essex County. So I'm gonna be asking those questions on Friday. You can rest assured that at that meeting.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. Do we have any other comments, freeholders? Freeholder comment session? None? I always report out when, after every meeting, when we have questions coming from the freeholders or from our constituents. When they ask questions, we always respond in writing. We don't go back and forth while we have individuals at the mic, but we do make sure that we respond to them in writing. At our December 4th meeting, we had under freeholder comment session and under Resolution 9, Freeholder Bobadilla and Freeholder President Blondie Watson asked if the victims of Superstorm Sandy have been identified and quantified. The memo was sent to the administration on the 5th. The response came back to us on the 9th. For Resolution 17, Freeholder Gerald Owens asks if the lake water piping systems are available in parks other than the Branchbrook Park that was on the agenda, and if other park services might also grant money to the county for similar projects in their parks. That memo was sent to the administration on the 5th, and the response came back on the 9th. From the public comment session, Mr. Joe Torres of ADAPT, Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Team, spoke and to the board and asked about its drug-free communities programs, and asked for the county support in their effort to address the community circumstances and needs through its data collection process that could lead to greater federal funding. And that memo was sent out to the administration on the 5th, the response on the 9th, and the letter was sent out on the 11th. I didn't get a chance to review that, if there may be, I think Freeholder Gill and myself, we may need to speak to the administration in reference to that. Okay, if the answer is not what we think it should have been. Okay? Okay, very good. That ends our freeholders meeting for December the 4th. Okay, I like this. Freeholder Gill, the Division of Community Health Services will contact Mr. Torres to address his concerns and see if there's anything he can do to assist the county.
Yes, thank you, Member. I think that was it. I think he wanted to make the freeholders, maybe those who didn't, aware of this program, and I thank you and the administration for the response. There wasn't any more follow-up on mine.
Right, and I think this is good because they maybe some assistance to the county in that area. So it's good to know that they're out there and they're there. Thank you. Is that it? Okay, we have no further comments, freeholders. Let me thank you. I think we had an enjoyable evening. Essex County came out with the freeholders to celebrate the holidays, and I want to thank the freeholders for all of your support and all that you did to make the evening a success. And I think it was great. I think everybody had a great time. And Freeholder Bobadilla, your little baby, I don't mean the larger ones. Did you see her on the floor? How old is she?
She's 14 months.
Oh, you have to bring her again. She was a doll. She's adorable. It was nice having you bring your entire family out. It was great. Okay, Vice President Sebo?
Yes, thank you. You were thanking us, but Freeholder President, I'd like to thank you for working so hard to put together such a wonderful party.
Thank
You
you.
did such a great job.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank my staff because we made some changes at the last minute. I think everybody said they thought this was much better. They had plenty of room to move around and talk and could move all over the place, and it was a whole 5th floor that we had to celebrate. So it's good when the county can come together and enjoy each other. So that was great. Thank you, Freeholder. And I want to thank the staff. You guys did a fantastic job, as usual. Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.